Hey T-Squad, welcome back to the Cult series. So far we've covered Jonestown, Waco, Heaven's Gate, the Solar Temple, the Manson family, and Aum Shinrikyo. Each story has been more disturbing than the last. And today's case? This one is especially heavy. It's a cult that started in the late 60s as a so-called Christian movement, but quickly spiraled into some of the most disturbing practices we've seen so far, including sexual exploitation, child abuse, and manipulation that scarred thousands of lives. This is the story of the Children of God, later rebranded as the Family International. The Children of God was founded in California in 1968 by David Berg, who called himself Moses David or just Father. Berg preached an apocalyptic message that the world was corrupt, governments were evil, and only his followers would be saved. He built tight-knit communes where people gave up their possessions and cut off ties with the outside world. At first, it seemed like just another Jesus movement from the hippie era. But behind the surface, Berg was rewriting scripture to fit his own twisted desires. In the 70s, Berg introduced something called flirty fishing. Women were encouraged, actually ordered to use sex to recruit men into the cult. They were told it was a form of spreading God's love. But it got even worse. Berg pushed teachings that normalized sexual contact between adults and children, claiming it was part of God's plan. Survivors later revealed horrific abuse that went on inside the group, children being raised without contact with the outside world, taught to obey, and subjected to exploitation. Members lived communally, worked without pay, and were completely cut off from mainstream society. They were told that leaving meant losing their salvation. Letters and writings from Berg, called Mo letters, were distributed constantly, controlling every detail of life. Members gave up their freedom, their money, and often their children's safety, all in the name of loyalty to Berg. By the 80s and 90s, survivors began speaking out. Media exposés and lawsuits started piling up. Governments in several countries investigated allegations of child abuse. When Berg died in 1994, leadership tried to clean up the group's image. They renamed it the Family International and publicly renounced some of Berg's teachings, especially the sexual ones. But for many survivors, the damage was already done. The Children of God became even more notorious because some well-known names grew up inside it. Actor Joaquin Phoenix and his late brother River Phoenix were raised in the cult before their family escaped. Actress Rose McGowan was also born into the group. Their stories brought more attention to just how damaging the cult really was. Today, the Family International still exists in a reduced form, mostly online. They claim to focus on missionary work and deny the abusive past, but critics say the scars run deep. Survivors continue to tell their stories, and many live with trauma that never fully goes away. The Children of God stands as one of the clearest examples of how religion can be twisted into an excuse for exploitation. So that's the story of the Children of God, a cult that started as a hippie Jesus movement and devolved into one of the darkest, most abusive groups in modern history. And T-Squad, our journey doesn't stop here. In the next episode of the Cult series, we'll take a look at another group that shocked the world with its strange blend of mysticism, power, and control. Stay tuned because this rabbit hole only gets deeper.